Right, so on Sunday, the 26th of August, I took a train down to London. When I eventually got there, I went to see Afternoon Tea with the Stars, which was a cabaret at the Delphont Room, and that was really amazing. Like, all my favourite performers were there. Performers were there. We had Chloe Hart, Adrian Hansel, Sandra Marvin, Chris Thatcher, Hannah Levine, Sarah Lark, Gina Beck, Louise Diamond, Liam Tamley wasn't there. He was meant to be, and so was Leanne Jones actually, and neither of them were there. Loads of different West End performers who I've known and I've heard about for years, and they were all there, but I'm not really talking about that, because after the cabaret and eating all the cake there, I went on the tube up to Camden and went to the Pirate Castle in Camden Lock to go and watch a musical called Firing Life, and this was a new musical written by a woman called Emma Trow, and it was basically about this group of people who've been in a crash and they're in God's waiting room, and they have to give God a defining moment in their life, so that they can either go up to heaven or kind of like down below to hell, I guess. And it was really very different from anything I've ever seen. Like, it was only a 75-minute piece, and it was in one tiny room, and it had the group of dead people, but it also had a group of living people, and the living people were sort of in amongst the audience, and they'd like come near to the front, depending on which character they were like connected with or whatever. And it was physical theatre. There was a lot of movement and dancing and stuff, and it was musical as well. Like, most of the dead people had a song to sing about their situation and their defining moment, and it was really moving. I only really went originally to go and see it because Sam Lupton, who played Princeton Rod in the Avenue Q tour, was performing as the role of Ben, and he's obviously now going into Wicked, so I wanted to catch him in something small that wasn't obviously musical theatre, and as soon as I sat down and I was watching it, it wasn't just him I was watching everybody, and they were all so talented. I mean, they were all pretty much from the North East, and they're all studying at the Italia Conti School, and yeah, like I said, most of them were from the North East. There was a young boy and a young girl who were both 14, and they were brilliant, you know. But yeah, I was watching them all. They were just so amazing, and like, I couldn't believe it. And the programme, it was just a piece of paper, because obviously it's a Fringe thing. It was just like a sheet of A4, and for the group of dead people, they'd done like their CVs as like obituaries as their characters, and that was quite cool. And then on the other side it had the group of living people, and the character at the end, there was a couple of characters at the end who really interested me. There was a character called was it a woman called Jessica Plader? Basically, she was the one that ended up finding out that her character was the one that caused the crash, because she's having a really bad time at home. There were these two women who were playing the mad mothers, and they were her mothers, and she was like, some days I could get this mother, and then there was this woman with like, there was one of the mad mothers, she had makeup smeared over her face, and she's like, have you had a good day, Petlin? And then she goes, another days I could have this mother, I don't know, go away, leave me alone, sort of thing. And you could tell it was like some sort of drug or drinking juice sort of thing, and I just loved it. I think if it was to be expanded, it would be good to see something from the living people's side of view, having lost their relatives, but it focused more on the dead people, and I think that would have been really cool to have investigated that more thoroughly. I really hope it takes off. I think it's brilliant, and Sam said to me afterwards that there might be a recording of it, and I really hope so, because I would actually love to download that and listen to it. Some of the songs were quite catchy, and a lot of them are like big ensemble type pieces as well. And yeah, I wish I could say to you all, go and see it, but you can't, because it's finished now, unless you go on YouTube and message Emma Trow or Twitter her at InventionM and just tell her, you know, bring Firing Life back out. We love Firing Life. And yeah, it's just very inspirational, I suppose, about don't waste your life, don't just sit around, you know, get out there and do something, because you don't know when you're going to kick the bucket. Who else was in the cast? I've put my programme away now, but there was the guy, you know, the Match.com advert guy on the train station. He's going, and he's on his ukulele and he's looking at the girl across on the other platform. He's like, "Girl on the platform, smile, the very best smile she's seen for a while," or whatever. Yeah, he was in it, and he played this character who was in the car crash with his girlfriend Brenda, who was also in the car crash, and they seemed to like lead the group of people, because all the other characters were like, "What's going on? Where are we?" And they seemed to know that they seemed to like help understand what was going on and sort of instruct the other characters what they had to do. And they took real good care of the young boy, who was the only member in his family in the car to die from the car crash. And it was just really emotional when seeing him, like, he was getting all upset and wanting his mum, and God let him go back, and so he came out into the audience and went up to his mum, gave her a hug, and then sort of slunk back onto the stagey area part, and he's like, "He let me say goodbye, I got to say goodbye." And they all hugged him, and I was just like, oh, because he had like an afro and quite a cute face, really. What was his name? Was his name Ross? No, his name was Ben, and I think his character was Ross. I get confused because Sam Lupton has a character called Ben, and then there's a Ben who plays a character called Ross. But yeah, I really so Ben's character was good. The character of Ross was very good. Jessica at the end was really good, and the Mad Mothers are just brilliant. I loved it all. And there was one guy who played like a tramp, and it was just interesting because he sort of brought a comedic moment to what was quite a serious and upsetting kind of story, really. And there were quite a few people around me who were in tears, but I think I was all cried out after Phantom on Thursday, so I wasn't crying, but I could definitely feel like the tension. And yeah, lovely piece, and I really hope it does record and I get to see it somewhere on stage again soon.